The horror movie that scared people. He's here again today. Xiangju is brought to you by the director of the Japanese horror master The Horror Village. In the 3 songs don't look at only 5.3 points, but for a horror movie it's already a masterpiece. The horror has not stopped. Xiangju Chongbin take you into the story behind the horror. It is said that in Japan there is a very evil forest King Mu and Shuhai. Young people call it the place of suicide. Anyone who enters it will die, but this blogger in front of me is not superstitious. Have to take the risk in order to be safe. He specially brought the security guard and GPS at the beginning. Everything was fine, but as the blogger officially entered the Shuhai Center area, the incident happened 2 times in a row. He first found that there was a man in the distance. I thought it was an unthinkable killer, so I took the initiative to persuade the group, but no matter how the blogger shouted, the other party never stopped but disappeared in the blink of an eye. I noticed that some of the netizens were wrong. Immediately remind him to run, but it's still a step further at this time. The blogger's GPS was not only lost, even relying on the intelligence sensor that identifies the direction of the magnetic field. It also crashed. Seeing the death message of the netizens about the Shuhai village, the blogger was also very scared. He wanted to return to the direction of the security guard, but surprisingly found the other end of the security guard. Surprised, a hanged man with the blogger screaming. The camera was also thrown aside. It seems that a figure has passed through the picture, but soon the signal was completely destroyed as the live broadcast ended. Netizens speculated this should be the blogger to attract fans and deliberately made a mistake. After all, the internet at the time was not good. The blogger was not in the surgery when I was a child. I felt very sensitive, but I still feel a little uneasy. He started investigating the Qingmu Garden Shuhai on the internet unexpectedly. This will bring him a huge disaster. The next day, Xiaomei and her sister Ame came to the friend's house together during the period. Xiaomei noticed what seems to be hidden in the basement of this new house. I noticed Xiaomei's clothes as the host. Qiang spent a lot of money to go into the basement to check. I found a strange package. Open a look, it's a black wooden box. A few people are curious about what this thing is. For a plate of Xiaomei, I suddenly warned everyone with a scared face, don't touch the box just because of this thing, an evil smell. Once you touch it, you will be cursed. It doesn't work by the housing intermediary. He speculated that it should be left behind by the former host. Package taken at the time, however, he hasn't gone far. The curse on the box has been swallowed. What the heck is this? What's up? Yure good, Yure good. But the curse did not stop. The next day, 2 policemen came to visit. It turned out that the blogger had not been heard from since the last live broadcast. The police visited several viewers in the live broadcast room at that time. Everyone realized that Aokigahara Book C might be a bit weird, but this aroused their interest. They were ready to go on an adventure together. However, when everyone was discussing, a baby's cry suddenly came from the chat room. Before they could figure out what was going on, Xiaomei was surprised to find that her avatar had been copied and posted by group friends. All kinds of weird pictures kept popping up on the screen, which scared Xiaomei so much that she unplugged the power supply in a hurry. The weird pictures disappeared, but then a hand climbed onto her shoulder. But when she looked back, she found that there was no one in the room. Thinking of the crying of the baby, Xiaomei felt something was wrong. She hurried to inform her sister that Xiaoyu, who was pregnant, might be in danger. Sure enough, Xiaoyu was hospitalized that night because of being hit by something. Although she only suffered some skin scratches, her and Qiang's first child was gone. Everyone speculated that all this was related to the weird Mu, so they sent Mu to the temple of the Yellow Cat's family. Look, the unfortunate accident has happened again, hasn't it? The tree of the tree is your tree. The tree is heading towards the box. It's a tree, so to speak. But in order to make everyone feel at ease, the Yellow Cat's father still decided that he would personally help everyone get rid of the curse for the wooden box, but he was attacked by the wooden box when he first started to use it online. Obviously, the wooden box is powerful, and the general magic can't stop him at all. Hiding in the corner, the little beauty was shocked and rushed out of the room, but found that there were many ghosts in the temple at this time. They are all in shape, and some of them even have branches and green tiles on their heads. Does this have anything to do with the rumored King Muyuan tree? See? The little beauty was scared to death by this scene. At this time, the sister came to pat her shoulder, and when she came back, the ghosts disappeared. It seems that only she can see those reincarnations, but even so, the next day, the little beauty and a few friends came to the King Muyuan tree sea to explore. At the beginning, this area was full of ordinary forests, but as long as you look closely, you will find that the trees here seem to be alive. At this time, a teammate's leg accidentally fell into the rock and could not move. The little beauty wanted to help pull the branch stuck in the gap. The tree trunk seemed to be alive, and it was floating on her arm. This strange scene made the little beauty throw her legs and run away. I didn't notice that the teammates behind me had already disappeared. And then, that strange wooden box appeared in her room again. I only saw a shaman put in the wooden box and put a wooden box on top of the wooden box. There was a black and red mixed up unknown material in it. Out of curiosity, the little beauty looked inside and almost spit it out. The box was full of unnamed materials, but fortunately it was just a nightmare. But the strange thing is that the temple that broke the wooden box on that night happened. It was a fire. Not only was the yellow hair burned, but her father was also buried alive. When I went to the hospital to visit the yellow hair, I was surprised to hear from the police that the little beauty was still alive. Because from the surveillance, it showed that she was going to burn that strange wooden box in the temple at night. But the little beauty has no impression of this. After the doctor's diagnosis, she should have had a mental breakdown, so she didn't know what she had done. According to the current situation, she is afraid to stay in the mental hospital for treatment. Nana was more and more uneasy after knowing the little beauty's condition. After all, the little beauty and May's mother had this disease before she died. She always talked nonsense and saw all kinds of ghosts. In the end, she walked into the forest alone and ended her life. Nana is worried that the little beauty will also end up in the same way, crying all day. To ensure the safety of the little beauty, the elder sister can only visit the hospital every day. Who knows that the little beauty secretly told her that she had to take the wooden box as soon as possible. Otherwise, everyone in the family will be killed. And the only way to break the curse is to send the wooden box back to the forest. It is said that women who were afraid of being cursed by their children will sacrifice themselves to send the wooden box back. Although she can't come back, her children can survive.
Whom did you hear that from?
Hearing the sister's answer, May obviously refused to believe it, but we mentioned earlier that the mother of the two sisters was inexplicably walking into the Sea of Wood to die. Could it be that the mother chose to sacrifice herself to send the tomb back to the Sea of Wood in order to protect her two daughters at that time? But May did not think about this, but the curse was repeated again. A grandmother who had been kneeling in front of the seat and praying suddenly died. Her eyes were really big and seemed to be scared to death. And there is an empty line on the nameless paper on the left hand. Why is there an empty line again? When May dreamed of the tomb in front of her, what was inside was a large number of empty lines. This not only shows that the death of the grandmother is likely to have something to do with the ghostly tomb. In addition, the surveillance footage showed that May was planning to burn the tomb and the hospital found that May had a mental breakdown. So that night, May was not dreaming at all, and the curse seemed to have not stopped because of the grandmother's death. The little girl who was alone at home the next day suddenly got her child. But when she reacted, her child had already passed away, and she found that the one she was holding in her arms was actually the blood-stained tomb. She hurried to throw the tomb away, but then she heard the child's crying from the floor. Out of curiosity, the little girl was ready to go in and see what was going on, but she didn't know that curiosity would kill people. At the same time, May just returned home from the funeral of King Nana. The strange thing that happened recently has already made her tired and unwell. She lay on the ground crying and fell asleep. In the dream, she came back to her mother before she died. She followed her sister to the house's closet and was surprised to find that the strange tomb had appeared again. May was quickly awakened, but it was Xiao Mei's hand that reached her shoulder.
Wani-chan.
Myo-chan is. It turns out that although May is still in the hospital, when she was born, she was able to come back and escape, so she knew the danger. With the fact that Xiao Yu had a miscarriage before, May did not dare to believe her sister's reminder. She immediately turned to Xiao Yu's house, and she knew that Xiao Yu was missing. I said, I'm curious, but it's going to kill people. After looking at the monitor, the audience found that Xiao Yu's location actually appeared in the tree sea. You know, that's a place of death that makes you feel like you're going to die.